Witness tells court that hitmen were given $8,000 to buy food and weed after killing the deportee.
Teach them! Hey, yo, yellow! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here, Warlord representing.
A former gangster known Crown witness on Thursday, September 23rd, testified that he paid a total of $8,000 to two alleged members of the Klansman Wandon gang for them to buy food and weed after they killed a deportee in Jones Avenue, St. Catherine. The witness told the court that he was instructed by reputed gang leader Andre Blackman Bryan to give the men the money to share between them, and that he paid the men out of the daily extortion money that he collected. The witness further testified that this was after he called Bryan and told him that the men had asked for ganja and food money. The men made a request while being transported home after the January 2018 murder of the man identified only as Rasta. The court heard that Bryan had ordered Rasta's death. Asked by the prosecutor leading the evidence whether Bryan, who had reportedly told his henchmen that "I want to go kill the Rasta in the lane," had offered any explanation as to why the man was to die, and if he had participated in those discussions, the witness said, "I was taking orders, sir." He then went on to detail how Bryan, who had allegedly told him to rent a white Honda motorcar for that operation, instructed two of the accused, now on trial, which guns to use, how the act was to be carried out, and his role as the driver. According to the witness, after he dropped off the two triggermen, whom he identified as the accused Michael Whiteley, otherwise called Stenneth, and Brian Morris, also known as Rooster, on Jones Avenue around the corner after passing the Rastaman, who had been marked for death. He then drove to Shelter Rock, where he waited for the men to meet up with him. He said the men, after carrying out that shooting, used a trail through the hills to get to the arranged meeting spot. The witness said the two guns used in that murder were given to another man in the trial identified as Ted Prince, otherwise called Margaman, for safekeeping after they did the shooting and before they met up with him. The arrangement was that after the shooting, Margaman would take back the guns. Bryan tell Margaman to collect the guns from Stennett and Rooster and lock them, the witness told the court. Now, on Friday, September 24th, the witness elaborated on two more murders which he claimed were ordered by Bryan. The two murders the court heard involved the shooting deaths of an unidentified vendor in front of the now defunct Super Plus supermarket in Spanish Town and another unidentified man at the Spanish Town bus park, both in St. Catherine on separate dates in 2017. According to the witness, among other things in both cases, said he had transported the alleged shooters to and from the locations of the gun attacks. In the case of the vendor, the witness testified that Bryan had contacted him via phone about midday or after 1 p.m. on that day and instructed him to pick up three alleged members of the gang: Cartel, Lloyd Banks, and Satan. Them a go mash up a youth at the supermarket, he said Bryan had told him. He also told me to tell Rayte to drive out a white Nissan car. He explained that Rayte, whom he identified in court as defendant Andre Golding, was responsible for keeping the stolen cars. When questioned by a prosecutor about those stolen cars, the witness explained that the gang had bought two stolen cars, a Nissan Tida and a Nissan AD wagon, from a man in Lauriston, St. Catherine, and those cars were primarily used to commit crimes. He further told the court that Bryan had instructed him to purchase those two cars and that he had bought them for a total of 100,000 Jamaican dollars. In continuing his testimony about the vendor's murder, the witness said that he then went for the men who included Cartel, whom he also identified in court as defendant Andre Smith, and proceeded to Rivoli in St. Catherine to meet up with Rayte. When he arrived there, he said he saw two strange men with Rayte who handed him two Matic. After collecting the guns, the witness told the court that he left only with Lloyd Banks and went ahead to scout out the area to ensure that no police were there, and then called and told the men that the area was safe. When he reached the supermarket, he said that the intended target was seen, and Lloyd Banks relayed that to the others. The witness said he then saw when Satan and the Cartel walked towards him and Satan shot him multiple times and him fall to the ground. Following the alleged deadly attack, he said he drove the men to their respective homes. In the other attack, he said he was present when Bryan instructed a now deceased member of the gang, Mackerel, to carry out that hit, while he, the witness, was told to bring Mackerel to Marchpen in St. Catherine to pick up a youth who would also be involved in the shooting. After picking up the men, the witness testified that he then drove to the shopping center in Spanish Town, where he dropped them off and went to park in a Life of Jamaica parking lot. While there, he said, "I heard gunshots start firing." Shortly after, he said Mackerel called and told them that the man had been killed, and he drove out and picked them up. While the witness was able to provide details about the targets, he was unable to shed any light on why Brian had allegedly ordered them killed. Did Brian give a reason why the youth must be mashed up? The prosecutor asked in relation to the vendor's death. The witness in quick reply said, "We don't normally get a reason," at the end of sharing his recollection of those alleged murders with the court. The former gang member further testified that he was also aware of another order for the execution of a top lieutenant in the Teshamila-led Klansman faction of the gang. "I went to look for a gentleman by the name of Ice in Linstead. Don't know much about him, but he was one of Blackman's rival," the witness testified, while adding he was a top man in Teshamila's army. The court, however, did not get to hear whether that man was allegedly killed by the gang, as the trial had reached a time for the Friday evening's adjournment. However, before the day's proceedings ended, the witness explained that the lone female defendant in the trial, Stephanie Christie, was also involved in that plan, as she and another gang member, Crooks, had visited him at his home to see Blackman before that incident. When asked about his dealings with the woman, he told the court that she had visited his home about 30 times to see Blackman and to chill, and had even slept over one night.
Teach them! Hey, yo, yellow! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here, Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!